I think sometimes I forget about is Google is an auction, right? You're
Yeah.
bidding on keywords to beat out other competitors, and when it's so competitive, such as like plumbing or tree surgery or whatever it might be, everybody wants a piece of the market, a piece of the pie because it's so valuable, the customer retention. And if you do a really good job, like I said before, people are going to come back and they're going to realize, oh, yeah, that guy did a really good job. I'm going to remember him 6 months down the line. And it might not be tracked as a conversion at that point. But that first initial touch base came through Google Ads. 6 months down the line, that guy comes back. So there's that lifetime value there that's
Yeah.
constantly repaying.
What's up, everybody? This is the PPC Cave with Gene Villanos and Ryan Fenton. This is technically our second episode, right, Ryan?
I think it's second. We had the intro episode that kind of threw everybody off, but we're back for the second, third, second, I don't know, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah. So I think this is our second in our series called How to Win with Google Ads. And today we're going to talk to y'all about time, money, and patience. And I think this is a real good one. I think this is super important for not only us as Google Ads managers to understand, but how do we convey this to our clients or even our boss or whoever we're doing Google Ads for. For me, time equals data and data equals insights. And insights is kind of the backbone of all Google Ads, right? So I think it's just really important to make sure that we're giving these things time, being the first point. And if we are able to give it time, the more data can file in and the more insights we could conclude off that data. And then once we have those insights, we could start to have a little bit of a hunch of how we want to test, what type of ad groups or what type of campaign, what type of theme on search ads. And once we can test, we can deem it a success or a failure. Ryan, I kind of want to ask you, what do you think about that?
I think you're on the money. I think we need the data inside the account and to be able to make decisions at the end of the day. Without data, we have nothing. And a lot of people think, well, we're putting the money down to get conversions. Well, actually, not really. You're putting the money down to get data. And then from the data is where optimization can happen. And then that's when obviously the good stuff happens because you start getting increased quality of traffic coming through your campaigns, and you start, as I say, I pretty much say this on a daily basis, funneling the ad budget towards what's working, taking it away from what isn't working. That's kind of like a little mantra of mine that I always say to clients, because it's true. It's like you want to funnel that budget towards what's working so you can scale things up. And at the same time, you want to kind of take it away from what isn't working because it's just a waste of ad budget. But I think you're 100% right on what you're saying. So, yeah. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, me and Ryan are Fiverr Pros, so we definitely are really good at screening potential clients, right? So these are kind of the first things that we discuss is before we set up a free Zoom call, before we even get into the meat and potatoes of even dissecting the account or auditing the account. I love to tell people or potential clients that, you really need time and patience for this to work because as a business owner, I get it. You want the results as fast as possible. And sometimes we view things that aren't working as fast as we believe it should work as a failure. But Google Ads is the complete opposite of that because like we said before, the longer that you are in Google Ads, the longer that you're advertising for, the more insights you'll be able to use and utilize so that Ryan said you could either stick with it and funnel more budget to that or be like, hey, this is looking a little suspect. Maybe we decrease the budget on here or on this keyword and funnel it to somewhere that's working. And going off of time, time as being the first point, there's a lot of that cadence where you have to kind of wait for a change to be, I guess, working or assimilated within Google Ads. If, y'all have ever had an account, you know that there are learning phases within an account. If you either change a bid strategy or some type of target settings, or even create a new campaign, so it'll have that little faded blurb that it'll say like bid strategy learning or something like that. And at this time, Google is basically looking to assimilate, what you just created, either the asset group or the campaign that you created with the competitors that are already advertising on Google Ads, and so it's trying to figure out where you fit, and it's understanding also your conversion goal. Do you want purchases? Do you want calls? Do you just want brand awareness in regards to traffic to a particular product page or even just landing page? And it's also dissecting your offering. Google Merchant Center does a good job of this, to pull anything that you have on your Shopify or your WordPress or Wix or whatever backend website you use. It's pulling all that data, and it's kind of teaching Google, hey, this is the offering that XYZ client is trying to advertise on Google Ads. And all of these things are running, in the background where we don't even see that. So it really just lends to time being a huge point. And like I said, the longer you can run your ads, the more data you can acquire and the more insights you can acquire. So Ryan, what about you? Any points on your end?
Well, that was really good what you just mentioned. To be
Thanks,
honest,
man.
I'm calling you out though. Honestly, I'm going to call you out because you always come prepared. Every time we do the show notes, you always you've got like paragraphs of information. I've got like one word sentences. I always feel so unprepared, and you have so much to go on. So
stop it. You're too nice. You're too kind.
No, it's great. I need to take a leaf out of your book and start being more prepared, I think. But you're 100% right. I think this is something that I am, I kind of said it at the start, but I'm always saying this to clients, is that Rome wasn't built in a day, right? And that we need the time, we need the patience, and we need the investment at the end of the day. It is an investment in data, and it's a business investment. This isn't just something that happens overnight. It definitely takes time. And Google themselves literally say in the documentation, it takes 90 days for a campaign to be fully dialed in and performing at peak performance, essentially. So if Google's saying that, it's like, what do you say, like the word out of the horse's mouth or something, I think it is. But we have to listen to what they say at the end of the day. I mean, well, we don't have to listen, but when it comes to that kind of thing, if they're saying that it takes 90 days for a campaign to be fully dialed in, then I think that's what it is. And based on the data I see on a daily basis with my clients and my accounts, it kind of rings true. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, Gene, but I'm seeing that in my accounts.
Absolutely.
3 months usually.
3, and it's weird that it's the magic number. And to add on to that, beside the documentation, I will take any free Google Ads call, not because I believe in the customer support or their knowledge or insight, but I just like to kind of ask some questions. And I've heard that so many times from different types of, Google Ads specialists that work for Google, that are assigned to your account or your client's account, and they say, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, and that's the bare minimum. That's what we tell all our clients too. Even if we have a client already that, we're like trying to make a new campaign or optimize something new, we're like, hey, 3 months is pretty much the minimum. It's pretty much the minimum, but I like to provide more of, a detailed time frame. If you can bump it up to 6 months, even better, even better, or even a year, so I like to say, that time, this is, like you said, a long-term investment. And for that to be a long-term investment, we have to kind of put aside the idea that we're looking for a particular return on ad spend, or we're looking for a particular amount of conversion value or sales or lead opt-ins, because all of that will come. But like you said, the very first step, the absolute very first step, is getting that traffic, and that traffic will turn into data, and those data points will turn into insights. But yeah, so
That sounds
Anything
good.
else? Yeah, anything else on your end? I know we have a lot of notes here, but the
You have a
gist
lot
of
of
it.
notes. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely a little bit over prepared. I feel like, but I just really want to let people
Good.
know that this is the reason. This is episode 2, right? This is the reason why we did this, is because we're setting everybody up for success, and we want the people that listen out there. If you're a Google Ads manager, if you're even a business owner, uh, you have to be in the right mind frame. And I always talk about this, and I say this word too many times to Ryan, but in the right cadence to be able to create Google Ads and use Google Ads effectively. And time, money, patience is just a rule that we really have to abide by. So that's why we're really trying to hammer this in. But yeah, and then so we were talking about time, money, and patience. And my second point of is money. A lot of the times I see clients that I screen, and they have a maybe $1,000 product offering, but their product offering does not match how much they want to spend on budget for Google Ads.
Mm.
um or it's someone that's saying, oh, I want to spend all my budget at once, and then that kind of leads back to that first point. But I think it's really important to understand that PPC in its name is called pay per click. And this isn't a charity, unfortunately, as much as we want to think that Google is on our side, right? They're here to make money. So, we can work with any budget, of course, but the more that you really invest and the more that you really put a dedicated spend to this, that's consistently, between 3 or 6 months or a year or 2 years, consistently running, the better Google Ads is going to work for you. What do you think about that, Ryan?
Yeah, I think again, you pretty much on the money. You could be doing this without me, to be honest. I don't really see right now. You're hitting everything on point because yeah, it's true. I think one of the notes I've got is that you really do need to have a budget that's realistic for your niche and for your industry. If
Yeah.
you're saying, well, let me see if I can get away with running, $10 a day in the plumbing niche. I really need to pick different industries to talk about because last time I spoke about plumbing as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
But the thing is that plumbing and things like that, or even what we do, if we were to advertise our services on Google, it's
Yeah.
so competitive, it's so expensive. I mean, I don't know what it is over there for you guys, but if you were to run Google Ads for Google Ads account manager or Google Ads manager, I imagine it's going to be like $30, $50 a click, maybe. It is super
Yeah.
competitive. So to say, yeah, we're going to spend $10 a day, it just doesn't align with the niche, right? And I think there's nothing wrong. I personally believe there's nothing wrong with starting small and say,
Mhm.
yeah, let's start with $10 a day. Let's start with $20 a day and just see what happens over the first month. And we can always scale up from there. But it has to be realistic for the niche. So things like pest control, things like tree services and things like that, tree surgeons, it's super expensive. So that $10 a day is not going to go very far. But if you were to start with $50 a
Mhm.
day, then that is relative to the niche that you operate in. So I think you kind of have to place your bets correctly and say, right, well, this is the niche I operate in. I know it's super expensive, so let me have a budget that fits accordingly for me to advertise, for me to push my brand out there, to bid on these keywords and enter the auction. Because again, that's something that I think sometimes I forget about is Google is an auction, right? You're
Yeah.
bidding on keywords to beat out other competitors. And when it's so competitive, such as like plumbing or tree surgery or whatever it might be, everybody wants a piece of the market, a piece of the pie because it's so valuable, the customer retention. And if you do a really good job, like I said before, people are going to come back and they're going to realize, oh, yeah, that guy did a really good job. I'm going to remember him 6 months down the line. And it might not be tracked as a conversion at that point, but that
Mhm.
first initial touch base came through Google Ads. 6 months down the line, that guy comes back. So there's that lifetime value there that's
Yeah.
constantly repaying.
Yeah.
So lots to think about. I mean, this
Mm.
this could be like an hour-long episode because there's so much to unpack. And
Yeah.
it's just something that I find constantly talking about with clients is like, well, how much budget should we spend? How long should we give it? And it's like people want to see results as soon as you turn the campaigns on. It doesn't work like that. And I think if it did, I think if any sort of advertising or anything that work like that. It's almost too good to be true. You do
Yeah.
need to kind of allow things to kind of optimize and learn and sit for a while before you can really say, is this working for me or not? So that's my spiel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we could be biased because we're on Google Ads, but I believe 100% that Google Ads is the best PPC platform beyond Facebook, beyond Pinterest ads, beyond Amazon sponsored ads, for e-commerce or anything like that. It's just the best, one, we talked about this last episode, is because of how huge Google is as a search engine and how many searches are happening each day. So why wouldn't you want to invest in something like that? And for any business owners out there, understand that your ad spend is a tax write-off. You're in the US. I don't know about the UK. I think it is, but it is a
Oh yeah,
tax.
definitely.
Yeah, it is a tax write-off. But we are not financial advisors. We are not here to provide financial advice. Go to someone that's licensed to do that. But we would like to tell y'all that it is a tax write-off. So understand that, and understand that it will take money and time for you to be successful on Google Ads. I have a little statistic here. Google Ads as a business in Q3 of 2023, this is the revenue, $76.7 billion, and
Wow.
59.6 billion is from advertising. This is from Alphabet earnings release. That's financial statements that anyone, as a publicly traded company, you could just Google. So that in itself, you can see how much revenue they derive just from Google Ads. And people will not use Google Ads if it doesn't work, or spend money or advertise on it if it does not work. And for me, if I ever see a customer that's like, okay, well, 500 is all I could do, that's fine. For the first month, we can do that. Totally fine. But as you increase the return on ad spend, it would behoove you as a business owner to be able to maximize your profits on something when you're getting good return. So why wouldn't you want to increase that $500 budget to maybe $650 or $750 or $1,000 as the months go by, and you're absolutely ecstatic with the results that you're getting? The easiest way to scale a particular Google Ads account or Google Ads campaign is throw more budget on it, right? When you throw more budget on something, or you dial up the budget, that's you telling Google Ads, hey, I like what you're doing. Give me more of that. So I think that's really important for us to understand. The root word of PPC is pay-per-click, and this is a business, it's not a charity. So understand that they're trying to find the best searchers for your particular offering, product, or service, and there's no better place to do that other than Google Ads. And so I
Can I
have
pick up on something real quick?
yeah, let's do it. What's up?
Yeah. What's
Yeah,
up? Yeah.
go ahead.
Basically, what you were saying just then is I really like obviously what you had to say, but I think so many times people instantly think it's going to work for them. Like Google
Yeah.
Ads, like, yeah, let's just throw, $500 a month on Google
Mm.
Ads and we know
Mhm.
we're going to get conversions. But I don't think it always works like that. I think
Yeah.
sometimes, you can throw money at something, but it's not always going to work. In
Yeah.
fact, you know, it's not like the answer to everything. And I think so many business owners get carried away with just believing that, I'm going to use Google Ads and we're going to, become rich. And it doesn't always work for every single business. I've had clients where, and it's often sod's law, is that I think this client is going to do really, really well. The
Yeah.
branding is there, the products are there, the website, everything looks really clean and really nice. And then
Mhm.
when it comes down to it and we run Google Ads, for some reason they don't get sales, they don't get orders, they don't get leads. And it could be stuff that we talked about in the first episode, which was brand reputation, speed of service, and things like that, reviews.
Mhm.
Or it could just be that pricing maybe, or something's wrong there for them not to get leads, and it's difficult to identify what it is without looking under the
The hood.
bonnet. We say the bonnet. Do you
Yeah.
say the bonnet over there or the
We
hood?
say the hood of the
The
car.
hood. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I thought so.
Look under
But
the hood. Yeah.
under the
Go
hood,
ahead.
yeah. And so it's not always gonna. If anything, it's gonna show you that wow, it's not really working for us, because you kind of basically adding more light. Like you said, you add more fuel to the fire, more budget. It's going to amplify things to say that, wow, this isn't working. And these are the reasons why over time, if you let it. So if you were a business owner, for example, and you wanted to give it 3 months, then you've got the data there, and the data's telling you it's not working. And I truly believe that all the information you need is in the software in Google Ads on the platform. I know there's a lot of, and we can get into another episode about this or the spin-offs and things like that. But I think all the answers to what you need to know about running Google Ads is inside the software itself, inside the platform. So I think that's when you really need to deep dive into why is it not working. Over time, you can understand. But that's just something I wanted to pick up on because you mentioned it, is that, Google Ads can work for most people, but sometimes, and this is the other thing, is that, I'm on a mini rant here, but when I see clients, they don't stand a chance, right? They've got a terrible brand, the website's not optimized. I don't think they're going to do very well. And those are the ones that have surprised me the most. And they tend to do so well, like get so many sales, get so many leads, and just absolutely smash it out of the park month after month. And it's just so surprising. It just shows me how wrong I can be in my assumptions. Like this client's going to do really well, and they do terrible. This client's not going to stand a chance, and they become one of my best clients, for example. Have you experienced that? Is it just me? I don't know.
No, yeah, definitely. There are a lot of clients that you see that the website is such a unique product, or you're really caught up with how they explain the offering. And when it gets down to, we call it brass tacks, it's
Mm,
just not working. It's just not working. But for me, my personal experience is the biggest catalyst of Google Ads not working is the first point, in my opinion, is time. We say minimum of 3 months, but to really understand, I think it's years, 6 months to a year. And if we can't figure it out, then I don't know if we're supposed to be Fiverr Pros, because with that amount of time, what I'm trying to say is, with that amount of time, you're giving a lot of data, and if you're spending adequate budget, you should be able to conclude something. Like you said, it could be the particular offering. Are you competitive? How does that look on your website? Because a lot of the times we could spend so much on budget and send so much traffic, but if it's just the website that, like, it's not going to convert, or you're not communicating the things you should be, or you're not priced competitively, it's just not, it's not going to be a good coupling between Google Ads and purchases, or whatever you deem as a conversion. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of clients that I've seen that's like, okay, well, man, this is just another drop ship, client. And not to bash any drop ship clients, we love y'all as much as any other client. It's just sometimes we could be honest here, sometimes there is a stigma of just the drop ship clients maybe just being after one thing, and that could just be sales, or not really being attached to it on the branding end of things. But sometimes it just works.
mm,
I had a particular client that we don't want to get too specific, but I had him on board for December, and they sell print on demand. And I was like, I've seen this niche, this website, so many different times, and I'm looking at the insights, and it's gonna be too saturated. But one thing that I always try to remember: saturation doesn't always mean that it's not going to be successful. There's a reason for that saturation. There's a reason why there's so much supply in the market like that is saturated. Could be because the demand reflects that, right? And sometimes I'm wrong. But yeah, well, I think we're definitely getting into our
let's bring it back
experiences.
round. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I had one, last point under patience. This is a three-point ideas of time, money, patience. That's the way that we're going to be successful on Google Ads, understanding that not only as a PPC manager, but also as somebody that, it might be a business owner or client. They have to understand that too. And sometimes that's easier said than done, because we are so eager to onboard a client that sometimes I've caught myself, I know you have too, Ryan, where you kind of promise things and you don't mean to promise, but we're, Google Ads believers here, so we understand how it works, and sometimes we can't, cover all clients with a blanket to say that it'll work in this specific time frame. But I've had one client in the past where I've mentioned, hey, patience is really important here. You're going to need to really buckle down for at least 3 months to see any traffic or conversions at least. And at first they were like, oh yeah, all for it. But then once that spend goes up and that conversion stays at zero, or that return on ad spend decreases, I think a lot of people waver and forget that it is still about time and patience. And they started messaging me a lot saying, hey, what's going on? How come there's all this spend and all this traffic but no conversion? And being the professional Fiverr Pro that I am, I told them, hey, it's okay, I got this, don't worry. But they just kept on persisting and messaging me, and I had to kind of be stern with them. I was like,
Mhm.
hey, it's either you let me do this job, or we can cancel your gig and we could be on our way. And I don't like doing that to clients, but sometimes if they don't understand the process, that's kind of like the only way to do it. And usually, I could see that through the screening process, but like I mentioned before, the screening process went well. And so they finally just radio silence. I don't know if I offended them. I don't know if I really hurt their feelings or they didn't trust me, but for about 2 weeks, they did not say anything. And we came back, and within 14 days, they did more sales in 14 days than they did in any month in the 2 years of their existence as an e-commerce store on Shopify. So, and if you guys want to
That's
look at,
crazy.
it is crazy. And I love, this is like one of my anecdotes, as a Google Ads person. It's on my Instagram. If you want to look on genevillanos.com, you could look at the statistics. There's under credibility as a highlight. You can check them out. But yeah, those things happen. What about you, Ryan? Did you ever come across something like that with a client?
All the time. And we do get so caught up in those initial calls. You get excited that, the brand seems really on point, the products, this is a niche that we have experience in, whatever it could be. But you have to remember that, every business is different. Just because they're in the same niche doesn't mean they're going to get the same results. I truly believe you could have two identical search campaigns or shopping campaigns in two different accounts for two different businesses, and they'll both get different results. And they could be set up the exact same, they could be selling the same products, everything like that. But I think you'll get two different results. And this is the thing is that, yeah, clients get impatient. It's one thing to say, okay, well, we're going to trial this for 3 months, and trust me, I know what I'm doing. Obviously we're Google Ads like account managers, we're certified, we're Fiverr Pros, we've done this many times, trust us. But I can appreciate from a business owner's standpoint, we're not the ones putting our hands in the pockets, and it can be quite difficult. But at the same time, what I would say to that is spend what you're comfortable with.
Mm.
Don't spend something where you kind of, I have to spend this to see results, or I'm going to go bankrupt. Don't do
Yep.
anything like that. Spend what you feel comfortable with. And what I say to people, kind of bringing it back around to patience, though, what I say to clients is that, I turn on a campaign, and I will say, just go about your business, right? Just forget that this exists. Just carry on doing what if you're, a tree surgeon, just carry on doing your day job. Just
Mhm.
focus on that. You've got clients to go see, and, jobs to visit and things like that. Just focus on that. Just go about your business like a normal day. And at least for the first month, right, or 14 days to 30 days, at which point then we can have a check-in, and we can review the data then and see where we are. And that's when I'll usually go in and start making big account changes. But for the most part, I try and manage their expectations and their patience as much as I can. And it's really about people pleasing at that point. And it's not so much about being a Google Ads account manager.
Yep.
That's just kind of being more of, like I say, a people pleaser, and just being a people person. So I
Yep.
think that's something that's underrated in what we do, to be honest.
No, yeah, it's super underrated because I can be the best Google Ads manager, but if I'm not communicating effectively, or more so mirroring how the client wants us to communicate to them, and we talk about cadence again. There's clients that really need a lot of hand holding and a lot of reassurance where, hey, it's a weekly update. This is what we're doing. We saw this insight here, this spend there, or there are some clients that just are a little bit more hands off where you're communicating with them a little bit less. And, but I think you definitely hit the nail on the head where you have to kind of be a people person, regardless if you're a Google Ads manager or if you're just working in any type of service industry, where you're actually providing a service. You have to be able to communicate effectively and really just set expectations, which is really difficult. So I definitely do understand that. Even though we are saying time, money, patience is how you're going to win on Google Ads, sometimes even for us, it's a reminder. It's a reminder that,
Absolutely, yeah.
right? Like we could create a campaign where we've done all the research on Merchant Center, on Shopify. We've gone on GA4, downloaded all these analytics and spreadsheets, and then the first week it's a dud. The impressions are down, or the clicks are up, but the conversions are zero. What do you do at that point as a Google Ads manager? The worst thing that you could do within just the weekend is start messing with the bid strategies, messing with, the particular offering that you have and changing it up. You have to give it time, and you have to be patient. And if you're looking at the client side of it with the budget, most of the time I like to explain to a client like this, where if you have a whole budget, let's not even look at it from a monthly perspective. What are you okay with? I don't like to say the word losing, but what are you okay with spending without getting that much of return, right? Within 3 months, we can divide that by 3 or divide that by 6, but the higher that month number is, the better it'll be for you if we could run it consistently. And it's up to me to work within that monthly budget. It's up to me to be creative. It's up to me to be granular with the type of products that you have, that we've seen, you sell before on Shopify. Maybe we start there with bestsellers instead of a catch-all campaign if you have a smaller type of budget that you want to spend. But it's what are you comfortable with as a whole number, then divide that by either 3 or 6, and then we could, start to attack through the phases of Google Ads. And there are different phases of Google Ads, which that would be definitely a different episode in the future. And even like this, it's like, okay, if you are investing in stocks, right, and you invest in an Apple stock or Dell, whatever it may be, and you're looking every day about the volatility, the up and down, then you're forgetting that it's an investment. Investment usually means that's a long-term situation where, we can't look at Google Ads the same, or we can look at Google Ads kind of the same way, where it's better to look at these data points or the spend or the particular CTR or whatever conversions through a larger time frame than a day or 2 days or 3 days or a week or even 2 weeks. I like to look at monthly, quarterly, if I can, 6 months, annually, so for us to be able to mirror that type of data that we're going to be able to have use for, we have to be able to convey to our clients and ourselves that time and patience is one of the biggest things that we could do to understand how Google Ads works. Any last thoughts on your side, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that's such a great analogy. And that's an analogy that I use quite a lot as well, is that, people who invest day trading, things like that, hourly charts, day charts, things like that, you can be pulling your hair out, seeing the price, the stock market go up and down. But if you take a step back, and it's exactly the same with Google Ads, and this is why I like to use that analogy. If you take a step back, you look at the last 30 days of data, you look at the last 3 months. And typically for me, I'll go in every 3 months and do a huge audit, like a mini audit almost, and just say, right, what's happened in the last 30 days, the last 14 days, the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. And that's when I'll start to see where has the budget been spent on what products, on what keywords, or what time of day, and all the secondary level data stuff. But I just think there's so many similarities between the stock market and Google Ads, ironically, in what we do in terms of viewing the data and taking a step back. So that's such a great analogy. And I think just to close off with this, in terms of it really does sum up time, money, and patience. As soon as you start to see conversions come into the account, whether that's for lead generation or e-commerce, as soon as you start to see it working for the account managers like us, but also for the client, it's kind of like, look, it works. So then it makes it easier to say, well, it's working. We're getting a really good return. Let's get more of this. Let's add more fuel to the fire. Let's increase the budget and let's scale performance. So I think for many, it's just a case of seeing is believing at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And once it does work, then it makes our lives a lot easier and the clients because then there's trust there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And at the end of the day, we're under the umbrella of performance marketing. We're here to perform. Me and Ryan both are Fiverr pros and handle independent clients. And we don't keep those clients because we're not providing them, return on investment. This is the name of the game. This is what we do. And, time, money, patience will help our jobs be a little easier. But at the end of the day, it's up to us to figure out and dissect through the experiences that we've had, through the best practices that Google Ads provides, and just any other literature that we've read in the past. And it's up to us to kind of tie all those things together and understand for that particular situation, this is what we need to do. Because Ryan brought up a great point. If you had the same campaign in a particular, account and copy that to another account, there was going to be totally different results. It could even be, I don't know if you've come across it, but maybe even the same theme in one account and it's two different results, so it's just there's so many different things that Google Ads provides us as options for PPC managers to kind of test and either accept or reject if it works great or if it doesn't work great. But I think the very baseline, if you really want to win with Google Ads, understand that it's about time, money, and patience. And for us, we're always happy to have more clients or people coming in and saying, hey, can you do this for me? Can you take a look? I know Ryan does a lot of wonderful audits on Fiverr as he's
Thank
a
you very
Fiverr
much.
pro. Yeah, of course. And so if you ever want to reach me, I'll be on genevillanos.com. Still working on the website, but genevillanos.com. You could send me a message there. And then Ryan, you want to go and tell them where you're at?
Yeah, definitely. RyanFentonPPC.co.uk is where you can find me. I offer consulting, audits, ongoing monthly management, and yeah, I also have a Twitter or x.com, I think it's called now. So you can find me at Ryan Fenton PPC there as well. And those are really, at the moment, for me at least, the main channels I use. But I'm excited to see when your website goes live. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have it up. I think I said that last week, but I'm gonna have it up for sure. But regardless, if you want to, take a look and see what we're up to, those are the places you could find us. And if you have any questions at all, I encourage y'all because we are a is it well of knowledge or wealth of knowledge?
I think you can get away with both.
I think we're going to go with both. Okay. So, but yeah, you could email us at the PPC cave@gmail.com. Again, that is the PPC cave@gmail.com. And we release episodes on podcasts, so Spotify and Apple Podcasts every Monday, and YouTube every Monday. We've made up the time, and I made up the time. It's gonna release Monday 12 a.m. Mountain Time. So I don't know, maybe some people want to listen to it, during the drive in, so we're releasing it early for y'all. And again, if you guys have any questions, email us and we'll be able to get to that and talk about the question in the next episode. But other than that, we'll see y'all next time.